So we know that an equation is linear if its graph is a straight line. And if we want to use the graphing calculator to test if an equation, when graphed, is a straight line, we first need to solve for y in order to graph an equation on the graphing calculator. When we graph an equation on the graphing calculator, we have to start by pressing the y equals button on the calculator. So it makes sense that our equation first has to look like y equals, or be solved for y. Another way to know that an equation is linear without using the graphing calculator is to look and see if it can be rewritten in slope-intercept form. And remember, that looks like y equals mx plus b, or y equals b plus mx. So what you'll be doing on the other side is deciding if an equation, or if equations are linear or not. And really, you have these two ways to make that decision. You can graph the line and look and see if it's a straight line, or graph the equation and look and see if it's a straight line, or you can do some work with the equation to see if it looks like slope-intercept form. So I want to go through one example. So go to the other side of your page so we can take a look at this a problem together. And let's take a look at problem C, or equation C. We can see right now that the equation isn't solved for y. It doesn't just look like y equals. Also, it doesn't look like slope-intercept form. So we could decide if this equation is linear by graphing it on the graphing calculator, but in order to do that, the equation has to look like just y equals. And right now, this equation looks like y minus 4 equals. So we have to get rid of that minus 4 by adding 4 to each side of the equation. You get y equals negative 2 times, in parentheses, x plus 1. And then we can just put that plus 4 at the end. So now that this equation just looks like y equals, we actually can graph it on the graphing calculator to see if it represents a straight line. So I'm going to pull up my Moodle page, and I'm going to go to the online graphing calculator. And you can be using this today in class. And I'm going to graph that equation. And let me pull up that page. Okay, so we're testing the equation y equals negative 2 times, in parentheses, x plus 1 plus 4. So I can press the y equals on my calculator and type in that equation, negative 2 parentheses x. Remember, the x button is right next to the green button on the calculator, plus 1, close parentheses, plus 4. And then if I press the graph key, that's the gray key that's farthest to the right, the graph there definitely is a straight line, and that would be evidence that this is a linear equation. So I could write yes for is it linear, and my reason could be that the graph is a straight line. I also could, without using the graphing calculator, could have just continued to simplify the equation for my evidence. I could distribute the negative 2. Y equals negative 2x plus negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, and then a plus 4 at the end. And then I can simplify this further by combining the -2 and -4 there at the end, or -2 and +4. And I get y equals -2x plus 2. And so then, instead of having my reason be that this is linear because the graph is a straight line, my reason could be because the equation looks like y equals mx plus b.